Right out of the gate, we talk about this, the heat. Open the door. It's like opening the oven right now because we're looking live at Denver, Boulder, and Greeley. Temperatures in those areas are in the low 90s right now. So out in our own backyard, we had Matt Jablow set up a trusty thermometer, and right now you see it's reading about 102. 102, and the
Matt was
needle.
doing something else here in a minute, but no, he's been busy.
Yeah, Matt did that first, but the needle is likely to climb as the weekend progresses. Also out in the backyard, our good friend meteorologist Danielle Grant. You feeling all of that 102 out there?
102% of it.
Yeah, you are.
The good news, guys, is the clouds have actually started to come in, so at least it's not that blazing hot sunshine just beating down on you. So we'll take the cloud cover while we can, but looking ahead toward the weekend, temperatures are going to be even warmer, upper 90s and possibly some triple digits coming our way. Brace yourself, and I hope the AC is working. Outside right now, you can see those clouds kind of drifting in across downtown Denver. Still a little bit of blue out there. Today marks day 20 in the 90s so far for this summer season. 93 right now out at DIA, mid-90s around Ray, Sterling at 93 too. A little cooler, but still pretty warm up in the high country. Kremling, Eagle in the upper 80s, as well as Steamboat in 96 in Grand Junction. A kind of closer in look in the metro area up and down the I-25 corridor. We're in the mid to upper 90s already around Fort Collins through Greeley, Longmont too with 70s. In Netherland. As we look ahead toward tomorrow, we do have a heat advisory in place. The Denver metro area, the I-25 corridor, stretching off to the northeastern plains for temperatures up to 103 degrees. Whew! The dog days of summer are certainly here. As we look on HD Doppler 9, I do have a couple of thunderstorms out there. They're primarily to the south of Monument Hill in and around the Black Forest area. One severe thunderstorm warning. It looks like it should expire here shortly, but really my focus this afternoon will be east of I-25 for seeing any kind of severe storms. Again, they're going to be isolated here in town, but really the eyes are on the weekend. Well, our eyes are always on the weekend, guys, but whew, this one in particular, hopefully you're by the pool, the lake, the river, the reservoir, anywhere with some water, that's for sure.
Yeah, hopefully your pool has a lifeguard. Because that's another story we've been talking about.
Tom is just lifting us up today, is he not?
I mean, it's Friday, Tom.
Hey, you know what
you do? You just dangle on a day like that. You just let the feet dangle in the water, and then you're safe.
You need a big hat. You're good to go. A nice cool beverage.
Tom Green is Friday.
It's Friday.
I like that.
Oh, the hits keep coming. Okay, thanks, Danielle.
You bet.
As always, one of the best ways to keep up with the forecast and the heat is to download the 9 News app. It's free on the Apple and Google Play stores, and we're not done talking about the heat because in about 10 minutes, we're going to talk about how you protect your plants, which a lot of people are thinking about. And in our next half hour, our 9 health expert will talk about protecting yourself.
We have talked so much this year about fentanyl. Now the search is on tonight for the man that police say was caught with more than 100 pounds of fentanyl on I-70. His name is David Maldonado. He was arrested nearly 3 weeks ago, but was then released because he agreed to cooperate with the DEA.
Court documents show not only did Maldonado not cooperate with the DEA, he took off and is now a fugitive. Here's 9 News crime and justice reporter Matt Jablow.
You have seen the recent and highly alarming bulk fentanyl seizure on our local Colorado roadways.
At a press conference on Wednesday, the head of the Drug Enforcement Administration's Denver office touted some rare good news in the fight against fentanyl.
To date, this is the largest fentanyl seizure on any U.S. highway involving fentanyl.
114 pounds of pure fentanyl powder, enough to kill 25 million people, according to the DEA, seized from a car on I-70 near Georgetown on its way to South Bend, Indiana.
I can't underscore enough how significant this seizure was.
And what the DEA failed to mention was that the driver of the car, the alleged courier of the drugs, is now on the run. According to court documents, after he was arrested, 26-year-old David Maldonado was released after agreeing to cooperate with the DEA. The plan was that he would deliver the drugs in hopes of identifying additional members of the criminal organization. But the court documents say Maldonado did not stick to the plan, that the very next day, on the way to doing a controlled delivery of the fentanyl, he fled from the DEA, eluded DEA surveillance, and removed the tracker from his vehicle. The DEA declined to talk today about any aspect of the case, including their agreement with Maldonado to cooperate or the search for him, which is now nearly 3 weeks old. Kim and Tom?
I got to say, Matt, this sounds like it might be sloppy police work, or it just sounds odd that they would just trust someone who was in such peril, such jeopardy, and presume that that person would come back, even if they had surveillance, even if they had a tracker on them.
At the very least, Tom, this is a black eye for the DEA, and they are eager to get him back in custody.
All right, Matt, thanks.
Made a promise that he never intended to keep.
sound like it.
Thank you, Matt. President Joe Biden signed an executive order today to protect abortion rights. It comes in response to the Supreme Court overturning Roe v. Wade. Biden said the order will set up an interagency task force to use, quote, every federal tool available to protect access to reproductive health care. The White House says it will also increase public education efforts and bolster the legal options available to those seeking and providing abortion services.
The executive order directs HHS to identify ways to expand access to reproductive health services, like IUDs, birth control pills, emergency contraception. And equally important, this executive order protects patient privacy and access to information.
There's no action the president can take to restore the nationwide right to an abortion in the wake of the Supreme Court's ruling. He even said his options to expand abortion access are limited. Today, he emphasized the quickest way to undo the court's decision is to pass a law in Congress, which Democrats don't have the votes for. So the president instead pushed people to the polls.
I don't think the court, or for that matter, the Republicans who for decades have pushed the extreme agenda, have a clue about the power of American women. But they're about to find out, in my view. It's my hope and strong belief that women will, in fact, turn out in record numbers to reclaim the rights that have taken from them by the court.
House Democrats are looking at a possible vote on abortion rights next week. It's important to note abortion is still legal in Colorado. A recent state law protects a woman's right to access to those services.
And then we turn to what might be the next frontier in the fight over reproductive rights. In vitro fertilization clinics and patients are growing increasingly anxious about anti-abortion laws and frozen embryos. If lawmakers define embryos as people, the testing, storage, and destruction of embryos could have legal consequences. Well, tonight on NBC Nightly News, an exclusive look at one IVF clinic's plans to provide a safe haven for embryos. A doctor there says he wants people to be educated on the IVF process.
If you've ever sat in the office with an individual or a couple who's gone through multiple miscarriages, they're afraid they will never have a family. It's brutal. Why are we freezing embryos? So that doesn't happen.
You'll be able to watch much more of this story tonight on NBC Nightly News, coming up at 5:30.
In Illinois today, funeral services are being held for 3 of the 7 people killed in the 4th of July mass shooting. Those services are for 63-year-old Jackie Sunholm, 88-year-old Stephen Strauss, and 78-year-old Nicholas Toledo Zaragoza. They are among the 7 killed when a gunman who opened fire at the July 4th parade in Highland Park did so north of Chicago. More funeral services are scheduled for this weekend.
The world was shaken overnight by the assassination of the former Japanese Prime Minister Shinzo Abe. It's a rarity in Japan, a very public one at that. The killer using a homemade gun, shooting Abe at a campaign event. Now, Abe was speaking in support of a fellow party member when the gunshots were heard and Abe collapsed. The 67-year-old was airlifted to a hospital for emergency treatment, but was pronounced dead after 5.5 hours. Police arrested the gunman at the scene. Shootings in Japan are very rare because the country has some of the strongest gun control laws in the world. Shinzo Abe was Japan's longest-serving prime minister before he stepped down in 2020. Right now, Colorado leads our nation when it comes to car thefts. Our state averaging more than 100 stolen cars a day.
And Denver is a hot spot for the stolen cars. 9 News reporter John Glasgow has been looking into this story from all sides. And today he sat down with the city's district attorney to find out what's being done to put these criminals in prison.
Halfway through 2022, Colorado is on pace to lead the country again in auto theft. 21,000 cars have been stolen statewide since January. 75% off the streets of the Denver metro.
We are seeing a significant and alarming rise in the number of motor vehicle thefts in Denver.
That's District Attorney Beth McCann. Her office prosecutes crime in Denver County, where auto theft has more than doubled since the pandemic started.
People feeling frustrated, losing jobs, economic insecurity, rising prices, and then I also think people are angry and people are acting out, if you will.
And the numbers show the problem is only getting worse. Denver County averages 33 stolen cars a day, more than one every hour. As the number of stolen cars continues to climb, we asked how often are suspects arrested and prosecuted.
The judge ultimately decides whether or not to, how to sentence someone, whether to put them on probation or fine them or put them in jail.
Take a look at the numbers from last year. 10,675 vehicles reported stolen in Denver County. Of those, the DA filed 900 cases with one or more motor vehicle theft charges. About a third of those resulted in a guilty verdict. Even more cases are still pending as the stolen car count continues to pile up.
We are prosecuting the cases. I understand the frustration because there is a lot of auto theft going on. But as you can see, we've been filing, our case filings are way up for motor vehicle theft, and we do prosecute them every day in court.
John Glasgow, 9 News.
Denver District Attorney Beth McCann says that her office is focusing on large rings that she believes are fueling the auto thefts. She adds using the power of the grand jury helps with these deeper investigations.
In May, McCann's office charged 11 people, accusing them of stealing over 100 cars, totaling value about $3 million.
Joe Sakic is no stranger to winning things like awards, accolades, Stanley Cups. Got his third one recently, and then one more award last night.
Hey, Ciara has a new music video out. Her husband, Russell Wilson, couldn't be more proud of it. If you look closely, you might even notice a subtle nod to Denver and the Broncos.